DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night and time for our Monday night live chats here at DJNTV. Tonight, my guest for the first show is Brandon Havrilla. Good evening, Brandon.
Good evening, John. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing very, very well. Tonight, you're going to get the role as the Dark Knight of the photo booth.
Very cool, very cool.
He is going to be. We're going to be talking about some iPad software and such for the photo booth. He's going to give us kind of an update on some of the things he's been working on with that. A few kind of announcements as such before we get too far. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, the links for the YouTube are there in the Facebook Live description, so you can pop out to YouTube if you want to bounce out there. The video is just a little bit nicer out there as far as quality-wise and audio-wise. Either one will work for you tonight. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. If you're joining us for the 100th time, thank you for joining us. Also, this will be actually one of our last live Monday night shows in this time slot for the summer. Next week, we're going to be starting on our summer schedule, which puts our regular chat show, the second show, at its regular time at 10 o'clock Eastern. But the interview show that I typically do is going to be moved to the morning hours. We're going to be doing that at 10 o'clock Eastern. That's the plan now. And we're going to be releasing the first show next week, which was actually recorded today because next week is Memorial Monday. And then after that, we're going to be going live on Monday morning. So just keep an eye out for that. We're going to have the links and such for those shows coming out a little bit earlier, obviously, because we're going to have to get those out in that Sunday email so you guys can be ready to go Monday morning if you want to follow it live, or you can catch the YouTube video later. Second thing is summer sessions are coming up. If you go out to the Disc Jockey News Facebook page, you can go out there and the pin post is information about the summer sessions that are coming up. Check that out because you can get a link for those for free right now. And we're going to be stopping that this week. So go out there and you read what to do, and once you do that, then you will be on the list to get that link for free. That's going to be, I think we're going to stop that Wednesday, and if you go and check out, you go to djntv.com/training, that's where it'll show you the link for the mini sessions, and we're going to be charging for this one this summer, so if you want to get it, and you want to get it for free, be an early bird person, go to the Facebook page, Disc Jockey News Facebook page, pin post, you'll check it out and be able to get in there right now. Okay, I think I've got my house cleaning stuff done, Brandon.
Very cool.
Now I'm tired, so now you can take over, man.
All right. So we're going to talk about the iPad booths, as John mentioned. And if you guys didn't check it out already, we've got another video up that we did probably about a month back now, a little bit more than that. And that was really focusing on the Simple Booth app, which was the event edition, which is a $60 one-time fee app for the iPad. And for $60, it's pretty powerful. What it could do, but it does limit you in some areas. So today we're going to take a look at another app that I discovered, which is called Moby Booth. And it's another iPad app that you could use to run photo booth on. And it also works on Windows devices too, from what I understand, like tablets and stuff like that, which is cool because you can then use it with a DSLR or a nicer camera as well.
And Moby Booth had a big, like my mic must be. They had a large booth down at the Photo Booth Expo. I think my mic was still way down. So there was a lot a lot of information and such there also that we were able to learn about, but it's so much different having hands-on experience like what you have now been able to do.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, I didn't make it to Photo Booth Expo, but I did see a lot of posts from Moby Booth about it. And I'm going to take you guys and share my screen real quick to their website too, for those of you who haven't seen Moby Booth. Okay, you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
We're seeing all
So
the screen.
this is their website here. And I just wanted to show you guys that they make actual booths too, kiosks for your iPad and such. So this is one that they're pretty excited about. It's a new one. And this is the iPad photo kiosk. Let me just get a picture. And there it is. So it comes like this. You could tilt the screen back and forth for your photos. The iPad slides right in there. It's got a ring light LED. So it's this all-in-one kiosk that you could run. I think there's a power cord that comes right out the back down at the bottom here, which is really cool as well. Comes with a case, everything like that. So that's one of their options. And then they also have this one, the Desire. Let's see. And this is just a different design. It's this tall, skinny kiosk as well. So if you guys are interested in running not only their software, but even other iPad photo booth softwares too, you can, of course, run whatever software you want on your iPad in their kiosks here. So this is something cool to look into to make your iPad look better than just sitting on a tripod or some kind of stand.
Oh, for sure. And we've seen a lot of the ring units. They were being shown at the Photo Booth Expo. And I think for some people, just to do something for whatever might be an option for you. But if you're going to do this professionally and want to charge a professional rate, yeah, you've got to do something similar to what you've done over your shoulder there. Right,
exactly. So I was just switched back to my camera view to show you guys. This is a recent build that I did. It's all custom. I built it. It's basically a iPad photo booth kiosk box kind of thing. I built it to look like a road case, so I put the metal edges, the metal corners. I've got the typical road case kind of latch here. Ordered all those parts online, built the box. It's got one of the speaker pole mounts on the bottom here. So you could just stick it on a regular speaker stand to make it look nicer. You could put, Scrim King on it, some kind of scrim on the speaker stand to kind of hide the legs, protect it a little bit. And then on the front, I used a white plexiglass, which is hard to see because of the glare, but it's a white plexiglass with a cutout for the iPad screen. And then up top, there's a cutout for an LED light too, a battery-powered light. Speaking of the battery-powered light, the LED lights that you're seeing the color from are all inside too. Those are USB powered. Okay. So I'm powering those with a little USB phone charger, like the portable ones.
Yeah.
So I've got about 5 of those. I charge up before the event, bring out, and that's what powers my iPad and the light, and the LED lights for the whole event. So my whole kiosk is battery powered, so I don't need any power for it. The only place I'll need power is for the printer, which is over by the prop table or wherever.
Right.
Normally by a wall, by power. But if I needed to,
it's transmitting wirelessly then to the printer, correct?
Correct. So I use, because the iPads use that AirPrint technology that Apple has, you can't go directly to a professional dye sublimation printer. So you do have to go through something third party. And the one I use is a app on my MacBook called Printopia, $20 app. And basically your iPad prints to that app on your computer, and then your computer prints it out to the printer.
Are you noticing any major delay lag with that, or is that pretty seamless?
It's instant. As soon as you click print, the printer comes on and says, getting information, whatever it's doing, and then it starts printing right away. My printer, I think, is like a 12-second print time. It takes about 13 to 14 seconds with that, I guess, exchange of the data.
Nice.
The other thing is you can run on an internet connection to do that because they do need to be on the same network, but you do not need actual internet. So if you just have a Wi-Fi router, you could hook the Wi-Fi router up to your computer just to create a network so the two devices can talk to each other. So a lot of people are, think that you actually need internet or a hotspot. You don't. You could just hook up a regular router. You just won't be able to text or email any of those options that use internet. You won't be able to use those. But you will still be able to print. So there are a lot of options you could do there. Also with the battery powered kiosk, if you don't want to print, you could use it completely battery powered in the middle of a field without the printer and just use text and email as well, using a hotspot or something like that.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. So
if I had well, as long as you mentioned the hotspot and such, if I have the iPad and it is a Wi-Fi, or excuse me, a wireless enabled, that it's going to connect to AT&T or Verizon, whatever, would that work then for uploading the photos right to the server?
It's gonna upload them. Well, you can't do it straight to the computer that way. The thing you can do with MobiBooth at least is upload them to Dropbox. So the iPad has internet, it will upload them to Dropbox, and then you're basically going to tell the computer to take the photos out of the Dropbox folder and print them from there using Printopia.
Okay.
So there is a way to do that. However, I think hotspots are a little easier and cheaper than buying a Wi-Fi or a internet-enabled Wi-Fi, device.
Yeah.
So I think a hotspot would be easier. I don't even use either so far. I've just used venue Wi-Fi's kind of thing. Occasionally I'll turn my phone on as a hotspot if I need internet, if I lose connection or something like that. And then for one event where they only wanted prints, I just used a wireless network plugged into my MacBook.
Oh, sure.
So I didn't have actual internet. They were still able to text and email to themselves. However, they didn't get it instantly. It took till the end of the party, and then I hooked up to Wi-Fi at my house, and everything got sent out. So it's all added to a queue. And with MobiBooth, you could view that queue right off the main screen. And from that main screen there, it'll tell you how many are waiting to be sent out by text, how many are waiting to be sent out by email, and all that other Dropbox, all that information.
Very nice.
So,
Very nice.
Yep. And then also, while we're on the topic of MobiBooth, I'm just going to share my screen again with you guys and show you the iPad. Let's see.
So we got folks checking in from around. We got some from the UK. We've had, I believe I saw someone from New Zealand pop in a little bit ago.
Very cool. Very cool.
And
Welcome,
course,
everyone.
Yes, we've got Canada represented, US represented.
Okay, so now you guys can see my iPad here.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got MobiBooth, which is this green app right here. We've got Event Edition, which is the MobiBooth app.
Yep.
And then we've also got Live Booth here. So while we were on MobiBooth Event Edition, I wanted to share with you guys Live Booth. I didn't talk about this in the last video we did, but it's something I discovered since then.
Sure.
Basically, what Live Booth is it's an $80 app. And
is that a one-time fee or a subscription fee? It
is a one-time fee. It's also by the creators of MobiBooth, and I think it's $89.99. Correction.
Okay.
But it is a one-time fee. So with that and the MobiBooth Event Edition app for $60, it's pretty cheap still compared to some of these others where MobiBooth starts at $20 a month. So after having it for a year or so, it adds up. Yeah, for sure. So what Live Booth does here, as you can see, is these are some strips from just some test strips that I made up from another event. And it's basically like a gallery sharing kiosk. So this could be a second iPad you could have set up at the event on a separate kiosk stand or on the prop table or by the printer or whatever. So as soon as guests finish taking their photos, they can come over to this iPad, they could view their photos, and if they want, they could check them off, they could share them with themselves. So they could Facebook them, tweet them, email, text, and they could reprint as well. So here you'll see the printer options and stuff, and they could reprint it to the printer if they want, all from this separate kiosk, which is a really cool feature. You could see all the pictures from the night. So if you guys are familiar with like Darkroom or some of the other photo booth softwares that run DSLRs and all that stuff, there's an app that works with that called PicPic Social.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. It's just Live Booth was created by the creators of MobiBooth to work with their app, MobiBooth. So
Brandon, now with the Live Booth, then is a person needing to then go to share those? Does it have to go through their system then, or does it come right from your device to the end user? Like if I'm going to text a picture, they're at the iPad and they want to text it to themselves. If you follow me.
Right. So if they're at the kiosk iPad, the Live Booth iPad, and they choose to text it to themselves.
Yep.
they're going to get the text just like they would if they did it from the other booth.
Okay, very good. That's
So
what I was
it's
wondering.
gonna,
So it'll be that
right.
link to check out.
It's going to be the same link. Yep, everything.
Okay.
And you could still also do it. You know, there's no feature in Simple Booth Event Edition telling it that you're running live booth. So there's no way for you to shut off like those sharing features, you know, on the other one. So you'd still be able to do it from the other iPad as well. But you could also do it from this. So if you're doing a prom or a school event where there's a lot of kids taking pictures, this is a really good way to keep the line moving, keep people moving. So as soon as they finish their pictures, they come over to this kiosk and they can print and share and do all that here while the next group is already taking their photos. And it's just this endless flow. Nice. So that's cool. And the other thing, I know we were talking before the show about when people are entering their phone numbers and emails, the iPads get a little flimsy. And the screens move and it's a pain and stuff like that. So along with that, having a separate kiosk could help with that. There's a lot of kiosk stands out there for iPads there's one mounted on truss, I think by Global Truss or something like that.
When we first saw that it was like, who needs something that durable?
Right.
And that's right. Now, as we see the iPads becoming more and more into the photo booth world, it's like, oh my gosh, that Global Truss was ahead of the game. Like,
exactly. Yep. Those don't move at all. I mean, I've used them for PicBig Social and stuff, and they are stiff. So with the iPad in there, you could tap on it all day. It's not going to move, which is really nice to have that separate kiosk for. And then all you have to do on the main kiosk is press the screen to start. So that's really cool as well.
I had a question. There's a question here. Simple Booth, is that a Windows app too, or is it just on the iOS world?
Yeah, so Simple Booth is just an iOS app. It's only available on the App Store, and it's $60.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's get into Moby Booth now.
Yeah.
Which offers more than Simple Booth. So again, if you haven't checked out our Simple Booth video yet, I encourage you to go do that. If you're kind of not sure what we're talking about with Simple Booth and what that is, go check out that video. We talked a lot about that. I showed you all the screens, all the settings and stuff that you could do with that. And now I'm going to just show you guys the different pricing options for Moby Booth. Basically, it starts at $20 a month. So that's about the cheapest you can get it after your 7-day trial. And I'm going to show you all the features that you get with that. So when we scroll down here, okay, so here's the pricing. So you've got the beginner, which is the $20 a month, $19. You've got the standard, which is $39, and then you've got a premium, which is $79 a month. And these are all still cheaper than some other apps I've seen out there. I don't remember names, but there are other apps that are like $150, $200 a month just for this photo booth app. So this one here, as you can see, like the main difference is the device licenses. So you get you get 6 iPads with the beginner one. So you could have 6 iPads logged into that account. I have 3, so I have 2 backups with me. One can be used as the live booth or that external sharing kiosk, and then the others can just be a backup for the actual booth. But this allows you to have multiple iPads actually running the software for $19. And then you've got 9 and 12 iPads as well. And there's a whole bunch of other features. Like for $19, you can only have an event duration for 1 day, which for most people isn't a problem. But if you're doing some bigger corporate stuff, you may need that event maybe 2 days in a row. It's not going to let you do that. You can only use it for one 24-hour period. And then after that, you're going to have to recreate the event if you need to use the same settings and stuff again.
Okay.
So that's a downside too. But again, there's upsides too, where with this one, you could prep events. So if I've got events in August, I could prep them now and create all the settings. Whereas Simple Booth, there's no way to save those settings. So once we make those settings right before an event, we go with the event. And then if we change the settings around, that's how they are. So there's no way to save it. Whereas with this, you could save multiple events and go back to it. Some other cool features with it is you could do the animated GIFs, so like the motion things. You could do videos. Video booth is cool for weddings, stuff like that. You could do boomerangs, and you could do green screen, which is really cool as well. I think there are some other apps that offer green screen as well, but this is the first time I've seen it with an iPad, which is pretty cool. I think a few years ago, it required like a person behind a computer at the prop table and this big setup to do green screen, and now it's pretty simple. You could run it with an iPad, which is pretty cool. So that's something I want to get into too. And then some other features you can see here too, which is the main reason I'm going to switch over to Moby Booth, is the screen customization. So you can customize your start screens. So for those of you who have seen Simple Booth, or if you see the one behind me, actually, it just says tap screen to start. And it's just a picture.
Yeah, you're in full screen, so we can't see that.
Right. It's just the tap screen to start. And there's no way to change that. That's what it is. So with Moby Booth, you can upload custom images. So in Photoshop or whatever, you can create a matching layout that matches maybe your photo strip design. So if you've got like a pink background, you can make the start screen pink that says, whatever, Victoria Sweet 16, touch screen to start, or touch here to start. So that's really cool as well. You can kind of make your designs a lot more custom, stuff like that. You also get your hosted galleries. So you get, 5 gigabytes of storage in the cloud for your events, photos. And then you could always delete them from there to save room, stuff like that.
Sure.
Customize emails. A lot of the other stuff is the same as a lot of other ones. But so that's for $20 a month. And here's a picture of one of their designs that they set up. This is for, looks like a GIF here. So as you can see, the designs are a lot more involved than Simple Booth as well, which is really cool. And that's what I like. And so I'm going to bounce over to their other website here, which is where they make their designs. So this is really cool because you could buy these designs right off here, ready for the Moby Booth app. Oh. So you can come on here for $30, and you can see these are set up for everything. You'll see it's just the picture. And let me find one. Here it is with the iPad logo in the bottom right corner. So it says it's made for the iPad, basically. That works with Moby Booth. It'll work with other softwares as well. And you can see this one's $20. So for $20, you have this really fancy design that's ready to go with Moby Booth, which is really cool. Just include that in your price, and you're good to go.
Off you go, yeah.
And they think you're a Photoshop star. So
can you modify
that's pretty cool.
When you buy that template, is it easily modified?
So the way they set these up is I believe they lock certain layers, but you do have access to the text layers, and they make it super easy. So when you're in Photoshop, it's almost like, working Word or something like that. You just double click the text, and you could change the name or the event name on the strip. What I got from him talking to him about it is you can't break it down to like individual layers. Like if I wanted this green strip, I could change the color to blue or something, but if I want to remove this green strip and make it like a triangle or something, I don't think you could do that. Okay. Certain layers are locked. But they make them pretty simple just for this. And as far as I know, you can order custom ones too. So if you have a custom design you want, you could order that from them for a little bit more. So that's pretty cool that they make the designs that are all ready to work with their app, whereas Simple Booth, it takes a few hours to figure out how to get the overlays to fit and stuff like that. So speaking of the overlays quickly, with Moby Booth, you can move each individual photo around, which is really cool as well. So when you set up an overlay, you could put the 3 photos wherever you want. You could put one in the bottom, one in the top, and, leave it at that. You could put 3 centered. You could put 3 off to the left. You can put them wherever you want, and it basically gives you the location in pixels. So if you're working in Photoshop or something to create the template, you know exactly where to leave that gap in the design.
Very nice.
So it's really easy if you're going to give it to another designer as well to work with. You can give them all the dimensions in pixels, and they could quickly create these frames that look really cool in 3D and all sorts of stuff. So that's another really cool feature with Moby Booth as well. I'm going to open up Moby Booth on my iPad real quick. and show you guys what the app looks like.
Yeah.
I'm going to run in a demo mode. It's the demo mode they have set up. So if you have the 7-day free trial, you'll be able to see this as well. And basically they've got one of each thing that they offer. So they have a, a GIF, they have a portrait, photos and stuff like that in the app here. So I'm going to open up Moby Booth and you'll see I'm running in demo. So this is the screen where you'll see all your events. So if you're not running in demo, you'll see all the events you have set up here. It'll tell you the date of the event and it'll tell you when it was synced. So you do need internet to sync, because when you create these designs and events, you're actually creating them on your computer. So you're creating them on a website, which is really cool as well. It's a lot easier than having to work on the iPad to actually create the design. So this is where you'll see all your events lined up. You choose the one you want, and then you click Start Booth. So we'll start with the Burst Boomerang. Here I am again from the iPad now.
Yep.
And here you can adjust all the parameters of the iPad, which is really cool as well. So as you can see on the screen here, they're on auto mode right now, so they're auto focusing, which is very helpful. But if you had to get in there and manually adjust something, you could. So you could adjust all the settings and stuff like that to look good. Otherwise, it runs in manual mode and it's going to automatically focus. So save and start. And here you'll see one of their custom start screens. So this is the one we saw on the website a few minutes ago. This kind of poker theme with their logo. And again, this is just a PDF. It's just a normal file created in Photoshop. So you can have your designer make it to match your strips or anything like that, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Touch here to start. This is all custom text. So this is another JPEG or photo that you could upload. And then it's going to take this photo. And the other cool thing about this is that you can, here you go. It's going to show us it. So there it is. And then you could choose to retake it or keep it.
I love that capability to be able to, that the guest can choose to retake.
Yes. Yep. Speaking of that, I don't know about Moby Booth yet, but I do know with Simple Booth you can't do it, which was a downside with Simple Booth. And it was when they take the 3 photos, sometimes one photo comes out blurry or they weren't ready to be in the photo. They went to grab a different prop or something like that. Yeah. One of the photos gets messed up and they're like, oh, can we just redo that one? Yep. These other 2 were really good. And with Simple Booth, you couldn't do that. If you chose to retake it, it retakes all 3. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can do it with Moby Booth either, but that is a feature I'd like to see in the future. Oh, yeah. Is something where you could just tap on which photo you want to retake and retake it.
That would be sweet.
Again, then your guest could be there for hours too. You want to keep things moving, but that is a cool feature. So I'm going to close out of that.
So you need to create your own iPad app that has that feature.
Right.
In your spare
in my spare time. Exactly. So we're going to open up 3 pose photograph portrait demo that they set up. So this is going to be like your typical 4x6 strip with 3 photos in it.
Brandon, so you messed around with the show. Go on. You're
Go ahead.
I wanted to, when you're back at that screen where it had all the adjustments.
Yep.
You went through the shutter one and adjust that one. Let's do the other one so people who have never played with it, so they can see how it'll change your image. Because again, we're getting to see what the final result would look like in a live application. So
correct. Yep. So this is almost all you'll have a lot more settings on a real DSLR or something like that, but this gives you a lot more control over an iPad camera that people probably haven't seen with an iPad camera before.
Yes.
But basically, if I turn these off, you've got the shutter. Get that back to normal. You've got your ISO. And again, these are just adjusting it. So if you're in a room that's totally blacked out because people are dancing, you could adjust these settings accordingly. The color, so if you're using bright white LEDs or if you're using some kind of warm white LEDs, you could adjust this accordingly as well. And you've got the tint. So there's a lot of settings here to mess around with manually. So if you're in a really tricky place with difficult lighting, you could really mess around with it. Otherwise, I've always just left it in manual and it seems to work. You can see the sliders are always moving and they're adjusting accordingly, which is really cool.
Leaving it set to auto so it does it for you. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So these two are on auto and you can control them separately. So if you need to do this, you could do so separately from the top settings here. But you put it in auto and everything's going to move automatically to what looks best and focuses automatically.
Very nice. Okay.
Really cool
that's just kind of a cool little representation or demonstration of that. Okay. So
yeah, very much so. So here is just another design. This is actually really cool. You'll see in the final 4x6 strip that comes out with these flowers and the boards on the back. This is what the strip looks like, essentially, with 3 photos and some text on it. So this is a cool way to show you that you could have your designer create this start screen that matches your strip.
Oh yeah,
and it's really cool for guests to come into your booth and they see this and they're like, oh, it's themed just like their invitations and this and that. And then their strip comes out of the printer and it's matching it too. And it just looks a lot better in the end result. But you can see, touch me to start. Gives you some instructions. You can put whatever you want here. So you can put your name there, your company name, logo, anything like that. It's going to take the 3 photos. It's got a little progress bar on the bottom, which is cool as well. There we go. And there's the 4x6 strip. So as you can see, it's got, again, their name and stuff, but it's all custom matching that same start screen, which, like I said, is a really cool upsell too, to maybe brides and grooms or something like that, where you want to match their invitations and all their other stuff.
Yeah.
So here you could text and email. Now I didn't set these events up, so you can add more options. You could add printing here. You could add Facebook and Twitter here as well. But this is just what he has set up in the demo mode, is text and email.
Sure.
And we were also talking about the texting before and the galleries. So why don't you tell us what the issue was that you said you were having?
Well, when I was looking at that, going back to my teaching days, that I would be concerned that with the simple booth, you would take the picture and then I want to send it to my cell phone, so I could go and type everything in and send it to my cell phone. Actually, we did that. My son and I, we were playing with it here in the office, and we sent it to my iPhone and his Droid. On his Droid, he was able to actually download the image right from the text message that came to him. Clicked on it, and right-click save concept. He did that. On mine, I would click on the little thumbnail, and instead of being able to download it, all it gave me was bouncing me to the website. And there it showed me on their website all the images that were in that folder. Now, going back to my teaching days, there are times where I would not want to have it that all the kids had access to everybody's pictures, because you know that there's some kids who would be like, oh, look at this. I'm going to take this one. It's showing, someone looking kind of, they caught them at a bad moment. And this photo, they're looking like they're high. And now I'm going to take that and make it into a meme that's going to follow them for the rest of their life, kind of a thing. So that was a concern of mine as coming from the teacher's perspective. But then, Brandon, you were sharing from what you've experienced from that. And go ahead, just kind of share that experience.
Right. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And for some events, I could see where people don't want to have access to that or feel uncomfortable, even as a guest, when they go to text their thing to them and they realize that they could see everyone's like, wait, that means everyone could see me too, kind of thing. And it's kind of like an uh-oh moment, especially if you have like an enclosed booth. So mine's open air, so everyone could see what you're doing when you're taking the photos anyway. But some people roll with an enclosed booth. So whether it's a tent or a blow up inflatable one or whatever, where it's a little more private, people tend to do things in the pictures that they wouldn't want other people to see. So back to what you were saying about the galleries and being able to see everything with Simple Booth, that's the only option there is. When you get texted, when you get the text from Simple Booth, it's a link to their website, which is a gallery that it creates specifically for that event. And they have access to all the photos at that event, including theirs. And then from there, they can click on them, download them, upload them to Facebook, stuff like that. Now, with Moby Booth, I was just messing around with it and texted myself a copy. And what it does is it sends you a link to their website again, because that's where these photos are being hosted. That's how they're being uploaded from the iPad. And it texts you the link to their website where it's only your photo. So like what John was saying, this would be perfect for his application, maybe a school dance or a prom or something, where you don't want people to have access to everything. it only gives them access to that one photo. So that's an important feature too.
Yeah.
And maybe down the line, it will be something that they'll give you the option to do.
Yeah, I definitely think
If
that's
you
going to
wanna-
be a point of contention for a lot of folks, especially in that teen market because of the
Right.
privacy issues.
Right. And like I was saying to you earlier before the show, was that with my experience for some private parties or family parties, barbecues or whatever that you're doing with it, they kind of like that feature.
Yeah.
Because they're all family anyway. And maybe it's like, hey, I can go onto the gallery and download this picture of Uncle Joe or whatever. And that's kind of a cool feature to be able to go grab a copy of, you know, your cousins or whatever, the one with you and your cousins, stuff like that, or your parents or whatever. That's kind of a cool feature for those family parties and stuff like that. But again, maybe if we have the option down the road, that's something we could put in our contract or whatever and give them the option to choose what they want.
So far with Moby, we've done the GIF and you've done the traditional 3 picture. Sean was wondering here. Sean, thank you for being with us tonight, by the way. Sean was wondering if it also has a video option.
Yes, so it does, as we saw on the website. Let me just see if he has a demo set up for it. Let's see. So he's got a 4-photo GIF, and then let's see what this one's like. So as you can see here, it looks like he added a button in the top right corner. It says double tap here to exit. So that's kind of cool. You can go back, I guess, to your settings, which is pretty cool. With the rest of them, I guess if you don't put that button there, you actually have to force close the app. So you actually have to double tap the home button out and then go from there. But touch me to start. So this is an example. 4 photos, take an animated GIF. So this is the one where people dance or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of movement in it.
Actually, there's a... Oh, okay. So this is... Yeah. The other one's the one I was thinking of where it's 15 shots really quick. This one's slower. So it's taking 4 photos and then it's making a video out of it. So it's like your typical photo booth experience, and then it's right, and it's putting the 4 of them together.
Would that be the boomerang effect, or similar to that?
The boomerang effect, I think, is the one I was thinking of. That the boomerang effect. Let me see. There is a demo of it.
Oh, that was our first one. It's a boomerang. Okay.
Right. This was our first one. Yeah. So it takes 15 quick shots.
That's what rolls us through.
And it rolls through. You're right. Yep. And then lighthearted floral printable. I think this is just like your typical photo booth again as well. So it doesn't look like he has the video on here, but let me see if they have a demo of it on their website for you to see kind of what the video looks like. And the other thing with Moby Booth, which I think is really cool, is that I believe you could set it up for the event to have the option. So if you want to do a video or a normal photo strip, you can.
That the end user or the
right, the client
can,
or whoever's at the event, right, using
that
the
would
booth.
be cool. That's something that I think would be, as I've been looking at this, it's like, goodness, if I would walk up there and it's like, hey, what do I want to do? And granted, the more options you give people, the slower it's going to go. But I can still see it's like, oh, I just want to take one picture. Great. I want to take a traditional photo. Oh, great. Oh, I want to take a animation or a video.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen it done with not iPad booths, but with other photo booths, running Windows and darkroom and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool at weddings to be able to take your photo strip and then quickly take a video, you know, like a 15-second video, and let the bride and groom know how much fun you had and stuff like that, and kind of leave that for them as well as take your photo strip home, because the videos aren't something you could really print out.
Not so much, yeah.
So there's no way to take that home besides maybe a digital copy if you text it to yourself or something like that. But that's something cool that you could leave for the bride and groom. Let me see. I'm just checking the website to see if they have something for the videos. And it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen anything with that yet, but I'd have to go back and kind of go through some of the notes from the show.
Right. It definitely does do video. It's here on their website and stuff that they do it. which is good. Actually, I'm reading the description of it right now. Create a video booth and capture short videos. Allow guests to leave messages for the bride and groom or testimonies for your brand. So that's really cool too. Flip into video mode at the end of the event, and you could have your client say something quick, and do it right on the photo booth with your backdrop and stuff like that.
Yeah. So there you go, Sean. Yes, they can. The guests can talk when it gets into video mode.
Right. Yep. So that's something, and I'll be playing around with this app. Like I said, I just got into it, and I'm gonna really work on it this week because I plan on using it for an event in a few weeks, probably about 2 weeks. So that'll be the first time I'm actually using Moby Booth at an event. Up until now, I've been using Simple Booth. However, for the $60, I think I'll be using Simple Booth again in the future, for sure. And it's something I was talking to you about again before the show. With Simple Booth, in the first video we did, I showed you that vintage design app, which is a really quick, easy app. It's like $3, and you can quickly create a logo, or what Simple Booth is calling a logo. So you can apply some text with a clear background that says whatever, the bride and groom's name or whatever. And you can export it with a clear background right from your iPad and quickly upload that as a logo to Simple Booth. And Simple Booth will put it right at the bottom of the strip or at the bottom of the 4x6, wherever you want it to. And like I said, I can create that with someone's name and my website. I can create that in, 5 minutes and have it up and ready to go with Event Edition, Simple Booth. So that's a really big perk. If you have a last minute gig or someone calls you and they're like, hey, our booth didn't show up, or our Groupon booth didn't show up.
That never happens.
Yeah, never. But, if somebody calls you and says that and it's an emergency gig, their party already started, and you got to get there. That's a quick, easy way. When you get there, you could slap the bride and groom's name on. They might not be like caring about that. Oh, this other booth was going to give us this whole custom strip. They might just be like, we just want you here with a photo booth. But that's something cool you could throw together in 5 minutes. Even if you don't do it for the first half of the party or whatever, and then everyone's sitting down eating dinner, you can quickly slap their name on it, something like that. But that's a really cool feature of Simple Booth, to be able to set it up really quickly. And with with Moby Booth, the setup is a lot more detailed. It takes a lot more into it to get your event set up, which is the reason that I was just running his demos. I'm still trying to kind of figure it out. But basically, I'm going to share my screen again real quick. You set up Moby Booth on the computer, not on the actual iPad, which is different than Event Edition. And I think in a good way, because I don't really like doing a lot on the iPad. I'm not a fan of touch screens and iPads and stuff like that. I'd rather be behind a computer.
Yeah.
So here on the website, this is like my dashboard here. So I could see the events that I've used. So again, I'm still in a trial, so I can only use up to 20 events. It tells me the amount of devices that I could have licensed, the amount of gigabytes I have taken up for the online storage, today's events, upcoming events, all of that. And so here I've got some recent events that passed that I was just messing around with. But let's see, it's going to open one up here. And there's a lot into this setup here. So if I go to edit event here, you'll see you can name the event. You could choose the device's orientation. So if you're having it in portrait or landscape mode, you actually tell it to do so in here. And if you have the iPad in the other mode, so if this is on portrait, if the event is set up on portrait and I have the iPad in landscape, it actually won't even work because that's the way the designs are set up and stuff. It'll tell you that, it'll basically tell you, it's not set up to work in that mode. Here's where you choose the event date. So again, because you can only do it for one day event or whatever with the $20 version, this is where you choose that date. And your session profile is going to be where you can edit some more stuff. So you can upload those custom start screens and choose where your pictures are located, everything like that. And it's all done online, which is pretty cool. The only downside to that is you need internet to sync the online with the iPad.
Okay.
So, at home before the event, you have to sync the iPad to it so that it gets all the latest event information and the designs and everything. And then you can go to the event without internet, but you do have to sync it beforehand. So like I said, if you're in a rush to a venue and there's no Wi-Fi, there's no way for you to sync that with Moby Booth and quickly set up an event without internet. So with Simple Booth, you can quickly do that, which is really cool. And here, let's see what else we got. Here's where you could turn on green screen. So if you're running a green screen photo booth with the iPad, you could choose your countdown seconds. So the time that they have to edit their photos after and the time in between photos, everything like that. The share settings, toolbar settings, you could change the colors of the app, the color, the text color, icon colors, all that. And here you could edit out layout. So you could see how much more involved the setup of this is than Simple Booth. You know, Simple Booth, I think there's only like 20 buttons you can click on to set up the event. But that's, I mean, it's good. It's really good because it's super easy to set up. So again, if you go with Moby Booth or something like this, where you want a lot more features, I think it might be something good to look into for $60 just to have Simple Booth almost as a backup software, you know. Some more layout options. So here's where you could choose like the width and height of it in pixels. So for your designer stuff, you could turn on 2x6 strips if you want, you know, the design to be in strips. Columns, DPI, there's a lot you could do here. Here's where you can upload your overlay for the strip. So if you buy it off his website here, you know, you'll get this as an overlay file, PNG or JPEG, and you could upload it right here. Save your changes. Here's your session photos, so you could tell it how many photos you want. So if you want to do a 2x6 strip with only one photo on it, you could do that. You could also do it with one, stuff like that. So there's a lot more settings with Moby Booth. It's a pretty cool software, I have to say.
Very impressive.
It's a lot more, it's a lot more into it. And from what I see, it's one of the only like stable ones out there right now. There are some other ones that are still in beta testing and stuff, and they're crashing and this and that. So it is doing pretty good. But
yeah.
So
great stuff, Brandon. Great stuff. If people like to get in touch with you to ask any questions and such, what's the best way for people to find you?
Right. So the best way to find me is either on YouTube here, which I said hi in the chat before. It's Red Max Entertainment. And the best way is by Facebook. So if you send me a Facebook request and shoot me a message, I'm always on there. And I could talk to you guys that way. Yeah.
And of course, you get the spelling of the name in the title of the videos here you guys are watching, and just search on Facebook, and he is that
correct. Man. I am that man.
Wonderful. Brandon, we got to wrap things up. We've gotten a lot of information tonight. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll have to come back here and revisit this here a little bit later in the summer and kind of get an update on how things are going.
Definitely will do.
Thank you guys for watching. In the description of the two videos, they're in Facebook Live or YouTube, is the link for the next video. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with our Monday night chat. Tonight we're going to be talking about what you need to know if you're just starting out as a DJ. We'll be right back.